Web design trends and predictions for 2024. With 2023 coming to a close, it's time to look ahead and see what the realm of web design has in store for us. 1. Sci-fi inspired design. We are living in interesting times right now. While we don't have flying cars or robot maids as some movies and TV shows predicted we would, we do have things like generative AI like ChatGPT, robot-manned restaurants, high-powered, pocket-sized computers, i.e., smartphones, biometric authentication, VR headsets. There's definitely a demand for high-tech solutions in both the consumer and professional spaces. As such, I think we're going to see brands in these big tech spaces, like fintech and health tech, design their websites and apps so that they feel more futuristic. 2. Textured design. Even though AI and big tech are taking over a ton of businesses, many people long for some sense of realism and humanity when they're browsing the web. So while we'll see tech companies adopting more futuristic-looking designs, we're going to see other brands go in the opposite direction. Rather than have websites full of flat graphics, neon colors and animations, they'll bring some texture and depth to theirs. Brands that make physical products or provide real-world services are most likely going to be the ones to adopt this approach. 3. Hyperminimalism. Here's another web design trend that I think is reactionary in nature. Rather than embrace the bold, boundary-pushing styles that the age of AI has inspired, I think some brands are going to say, enough is enough, and go way back to the basics. Hyperminimalism won't be about creating websites that are devoid of color, imagery, or attractiveness though. It'll be more about embracing white space and allowing it to give visitors the space and time to breathe and let everything soak in. 4. Adaptive headers. Although transparent header design can look really cool, how realistic is it that the logo, text, and button will stand out clearly against every section background they pass over? One solution is to do away with the sticky header. But then you risk decreasing the usability of the website by forcing users to scroll to the top whenever they want to peruse other pages. Another solution is to turn the transparent header solid once the visitor passes the hero section. However, that can cause a break in the seamlessness of the web design, which is part of the reason for the transparency in the first place. It can also turn the header into an eyesore if the color contrasts too much with the rest of the design. 5. Multiplanar scrolling. Typically when a user scrolls down a page, content keeps moving in the same direction from top to bottom. There may be some moments where the page seems to stop moving as animations play out, but it all stays within that y-axis. Biplanar and multiplanar scrolling is going to change that. As users scroll down web pages, they may now start to encounter content that moves across the x-axis as well. It looks like what you'd see in an old-school Mario game, moving up and down, left and right. Multiplanar scrolling is where the content moves backwards along the z-axis. It's not as common. However, I could see it catching on in the coming years. Imagine content being pushed backward as new content slides into its place in the foreground. Or the reverse, content sliding off-screen while new content emerges from the back. 6. Hand-drawn logo elements. For a while there, it felt as though many logos were being overly digitized and given the flat, simplified treatment. We saw this a lot initially with big tech companies and then everyone else seemed to follow suit. In 2024 and beyond, we're going to see brands breaking away from the digital flat logo and embracing something that feels more raw and relatable. In some cases, the hand-drawn component will be a letter or shape within the logo. In other cases, the entire logo will appear hand-drawn. 7. Teleprompter typography. One of the issues we face when creating content for websites is to not write so much that people don't want to read it all. It's not that users don't want to learn about what a website is selling, that's why they're there. It's just that people have short attention spans and can easily feel overwhelmed when you give them too much at once. In some cases, though, it's not possible to write short, snappy snippets. Some designers have figured out a solution for this problem and I suspect we're going to see a lot of this in 2024. It doesn't work exactly like a teleprompter, but the end result is similar. With a teleprompter, text is slowly fed to a screen while someone speaks. This allows them to speak to the audience as if the words were coming off the top of their heads. With teleprompter typography, the text goes from a not-so-readable light or semi-transparent to a very readable black and opaque as the user scrolls down the page.